All right, this is going to be Algebra 2, Pace 1124. We're going to do page 9. This is the first checkup, and I'm going to go through it, and I'll go through it kind of quick because really this is just a big review of Algebra 1. This entire book is just one big review of Algebra 1. So I'm going to kind of go through these quick, but I'm also going to try to explain too. So if I go too fast, then just pause the video, rewind a little bit, and listen to it again. Because you should understand this already and maybe just need a reminder. I'm just going to go through the checkups. The checkups should, me going through the checkups should help you to do the other pages without me actually having to do videos for the entire book. Because again, this book is just a refresher of Algebra 1. All right, so the first one on page 9 that we have is this x to the third times x to the fifth. So what we learned in Algebra 1 is that when you are multiplying variables with exponents, you add your exponents. So this is x to the third power plus 5. Okay, so to solve that, x is 3 plus 5 is 8. So your answer right there is x to the 8th power. Okay, so then when you are dividing, number 2 is a division, you're doing, since in multiplication you're adding, in division you're going to subtract. Things to notice in your division is your exponents and which one is the larger exponent. So in this case, my larger is in the numerator. So therefore, my answer is going to be in the numerator. If my larger number happened to have been in the denominator, if it had been a to the second over a to the fourth, like such, if it had been this way, then my answer would end up being a fraction. So the answer to this one is a 4 minus 2, which equals a squared. And that is my answer right there. Now going back down here to the if, is that would have ended up being 1 over a 4 minus 2, which would have equaled 1 over a squared. So in division, if your higher exponent is in the numerator, then your answer stays that whole number, that only a numerator. I mean, technically speaking, you can say that that is over 1. But if your larger number is in the denominator, like the example that I gave, then your answer will end up being a fraction, okay? All right, so then moving on over to number 3, sorry. So here we have an exponent raised to an exponent. All right, so I'm going to separate this out because this is 2 things that you're having to solve. You have to solve 2 to the 4th power times y to the 3rd raised to the 4th power. Okay, so 2 to the 4th power, 2 times 2 is 4. So that's 1, 2. Times 2 is 8. That's my third 2. Times 2, that's my fourth 2, is 16. So 2 to the 4th power is 16. And then y to the 3rd power raised to the 4th. So when over here, when I'm multiplying my variables and exponents, I add the exponents. But here, my exponent is raised to another exponent. So in this one, I'm going to multiply. So if your exponents are separated by parentheses, if your exponent is raised to another, you're going to multiply it. So y is going to be to the 12th power. So the other way to look at it is you're saying y to the 3rd times y to the 3rd times y to the 3rd times y to the 3rd. Okay, so if you're adding your exponents, that's 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 3 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Okay, your final answer is 16y to the 12th. Okay, so I did number 5, which is a fraction, just so that you would see it. So remember, every one of these are raised to that second power. Okay, it's not just your variable. It's not just the term. It's every one of them. All of them are raised to that second power. So it's 2 to the second power. It's a to the second power divided by 3 to the second power, b to the second power. So 2 to the second power is 4. Why? Because 2 times 2 equals 4. It's 2 to the second power. There's my first 2. There's my second 2. And then a squared. A raised to the second power is just a squared. Remember, that has an understood 1 above it. 1 times 2 is 2. So 3 to the second power. 3 times 3, my first 3, my second 3, is 9. And then b squared. And that is your answer. Okay. So moving on to number 11, some that are a little bit more fun. Okay. So we're going to multiply everything on the outside by everything on the inside. Let me change these colors just so you can see. Make a pretty rainbow there. Okay. So now we're going to start with that first term. Just making sure, looking back in the book to make sure that we are just finding the quotient. That's what we're doing. So first is negative x times 2x squared. So that's going to give me negative 2x to the third. So what that's saying is negative x times 2x squared. Okay, so that is your first one. Highlight it for you in the same colors. All right, so then the next one is negative x times negative 3x. So you have negative x times negative 3x, which is going to give me positive 3x squared. Okay, and then I would multiply the last one. Negative x times negative 4, which is going to give me a negative 4x. I didn't write it over here for you. I'm sorry, it's a positive 4x. Okay? And that is your answer right there. Okay, so then when you're dividing them, all you do is you just say that that x is over every, or is under every one of those. So x to the 4th over x plus 3x squared over x minus 4x over x plus 1 over x. So x to the 4th divided by x is x to the 3rd. Remember, we discussed that up here at the top. When you're dividing, you subtract your exponents, and that is x to the 4th and x to the 1st. 4 minus 1 is 3. And then we have this positive here, so we're going to bring it down. 3x squared divided by x is going to give me 3x. Bring that negative down. 4x divided by x is going to give me 4. Bring that positive down. And then this does not divide. I can't divide 1 divided by x, so it remains a fraction. And that is your final answer on that one. Okay, so number 15. There are two ways that you can do this when you are factoring out a square. So the first thing you could do, step 1, is square the first. So my first is x. I'm going to square it, which is going to give me x squared. Step 2 is multiply the first times the second. Then double it. Okay, so multiply -3 times x. So you're doing -3 times x times 2. -3 times x is -3x. -3x times 2 is -6x. And then your last step, square the last. So squaring the last is -3. And -3 times -3 gives me +9. So the other way that you could do this one is you could write it out and do the FOIL method. First times the first, x squared. Outside times the outside, -3x. Inside times the inside, -3x. Last times the last, +9. Combine those like terms, you get x squared minus 6x plus 9. So both ways are easy and simple, just whichever way you prefer to do it, whichever way works better in your mind. Okay, so on this one right here on number 17, what I want to do is I want to factor out that x. These both have that x in common, and it'll help me a lot if I don't have to deal with two x's in the same problem. Can you factor this? Yes, but I don't want to. So I'm going to go x. So when I factor that out, x squared divided by x leaves me with x. And then minus x divided by x gives me 1, because 1 minus 1 is 0. 1 minus 1, so x to the 0. And anything to the 0 power is 1. Okay, so again, you can do it one way or the other. You can do the step by step, square the first, multiply the first times the second, then double it, square the last. Or you can write it out, whichever way is easier for you. Just don't forget about that x in the front in your final problem, in your final answer, I mean. Okay, so I'm going to let you work that one out. You should get x times x squared minus 2x plus 1. All right, the last one that we're going to do is number 19. And again, It's the same thing. You just multiply by everything. And then when you do that, then you're going to make sure that you combine your like terms, okay? So, first we have a times 3a squared, which is going to give us 3a to the fourth. A times negative a, which is going to give us negative a squared. And then a times positive 4, which gives us positive 4a. All right, switching over to the green, I have negative 5 times 3a to the third. That's going to give me negative 15a to the third. Negative 5 times negative a. It's going to give me positive 5a. And then negative 5 times positive 4 gives me negative 20. So what are my like terms now? I have this 3a to the fourth. I do not have another 3a to the fourth. So I'm going to bring him down. 3a to the fourth is my start. Next, I have negative a squared. And I don't have another negative a squared, but I've got this negative 15a to the third. And it should go before order of operation. It should go before the a squared. So 15a to the third. Got that one taken care of. That one taken care of. Negative a squared. That one taken care of. Let's see what else we've got in here. So we have a positive 4a and a positive 5a. Those are like terms, so I can combine them. 4 plus 5 is 9. A. So we've done those. And all I'm left with is 20. All right. Sorry for the long video. Just had to make sure that I explained everything. I messed up my screen one time too. That's okay. Hope this helps. If you have any questions, let me know.